big story to talk about right here in the 5 o'clock hour.
Yeah.
Perfect for offsides. All right. I'm sure that most of the locals here have been reading and hearing about the story that is stemmed out of the public library.
Yeah.
All right. The public library has agreed to allow drag queens to come in and read to 3 to 6 year olds. And this was posted recently, just the other day, and there has been hundreds and hundreds of comments. And now the Lafayette mayor is claiming that he is going to try to stop it. In fact, the city parish mayor,
Joe Robideau.
quoted, Joe Robideau, thank you, says, and I quote, "Our parish libraries are public spaces with venues that any group or individual can reserve on a non-discriminatory basis as a requirement by law. We have to be certain, however, that our internally approved programming is both appropriate and serves the needs of Lafayette Parish. This is the only way our library system will continue to enjoy the support from our community that has been historically received." Okay, so the parish president has now basically said, we need to take a look at this, guys. This is from a fraternity, actually, at UL, Delta Lambda Phi. They are the ones who basically promoted this, got it approved. And let me tell you, this is nothing new. This has been happening now for a few years nationwide. It started in San Francisco. Now they have it in Alaska, Philadelphia, New York, Indianapolis. Many, many cities have incorporated these drag queens that are coming into libraries and reading to children. And these are little children now.
3 to 6 year olds.
That's right. 3 to 6 years old. Okay. Right out of being a toddler.
Yeah.
Really. And so they are very, very sensitive in many ways. Okay. This is a developing brain in its earliest stages, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, you know, there's a lot of different things that we can talk about with this. What's wrong with it? You know, at what degree? I'm going to tell you one thing that I see because when we were preparing for today's show, I looked at a lot of the stories from these other cities. Okay, and they have videos and they have pictures of these drag queens reading to these children. Yeah. And I have to say, they're pretty scary looking.
Yeah, it's pretty scary.
Okay, they really are. It's not at all what I expected. Yeah. Because we have seen drag queens, we have seen cross-dressers on television, on the internet, at award shows, all different places, and a lot of them you can't tell. Yeah. Okay, these men are dressed up, and I gotta say, they are really scary looking. It looks like somebody that would give these children nightmares simply from their appearance.
Well, and if an adult can identify how scary looking they are, then just imagine what the kid feels.
I think so.
And one thing that you mentioned, a lot of those cities that you mentioned are cities that are known for being more liberal. You bring that kind of a discussion here in Lafayette, and that is not something that's going to sit well with the community. And one thing, you know, when a topic like this comes up, what's interesting here is people are really concentrating on that lifestyle, that drag queen lifestyle. Really, it's the fact that this is not age appropriate, and this is me giving my opinion, that this is not age appropriate at all. And when you're talking about, like, if this was a situation where they're having a drag queen class designed to talk to adults. I mean, as a matter of fact, I was listening to, a couple of the members of this fraternity were on Acadiana's Morning News this morning. And you can listen to the complete interview that Rob and Bernie had with those two men on our website, KPL965.com.
Brad and Jeffrey.
Yes, exactly. Brad and Jeffrey. You're right. And so one of the things that one of them mentioned was that they would go to St. Joseph's Diner. Now, okay, if they're going to St. Joseph's Diner, and I assume they're going to take part in some kind of charitable situation there to help out those that are less fortunate. Yeah. Okay, that's adults that they're going to.
Yeah, but
that's
are they
not 3 to 6 year old children?
Right. Are they going in drag?
And are they going? You would assume that they are.
Okay, that's what I don't know. I mean, is this an event, or they volunteer in their times as a Greek organization, right? Or are they doing it in drag? I don't know, but you're right. That's adult.
That's adults.
Okay. What I'm curious about is, what are these parents thinking that are bringing their 3 to 6 year olds to go to these storytelling events with these drag queens? Now, you know, if they were a bit older, all right, and perhaps you had a child that was curious because they saw somebody that was clearly a man dressed up like a lady, or they saw somebody on television, and you wanted to allow them to be in a position to talk with a drag queen, a cross-dresser, and realize that this is a human being, and that might be a good venue or a good opportunity for them to ask some questions to better understand it. I can see being receptive to that at a much older age. But I don't see the point in this. When I say they, the advocates for this claim that this is to promote more of an inclusive environment and a more inclusive community. But I don't think that age is the right target to try to promote that.
Very inappropriate.
I don't see that at all.
Yeah.
Now this, as I said, this is very widespread. There are some drag queens that are going into libraries dressed as Disney characters, and they're telling Disney stories. According to NBC News, there's a story from NBC News that says, and I quote, "Drag Queen Story Hour brings pride and glamour to libraries across the United States." It is being supported, apparently, very aggressively by the left. But as I said, I don't really see the purpose in this. I don't see the end game to teach these children at this age about these people.
No,
I don't think that they should be secluded from them. All right, but I don't get this.
Well, here's a few things, and we talked about this on the show before, and this could be something to put on I Hate Mondays. But I am tired of people using kids to push their agendas. And when I saw a comment, and look, KPEL has covered this story in many different ways. You can go to our website and you can get all kinds of information on this, including, like we said, the interview that was done early this morning.
Which, if I may comment, I got to praise those guys, okay, because they're getting a lot of grief. They're getting, a lot of pushback. And you got to admire them. They came in here and they did the interview and they answered the questions. They could have just stuck their head in the sand.
But, and it's true, but the library director, Teresa Elberson, basically said, and this is from one of the articles that we wrote. It was actually Bernie that wrote the article, that Elberson said, while the men will be dressed in drag, they will not be dressed to make a statement. Well, by dressing in drag, you're making a statement.
Yeah, that's weak.
So it's the whole thing about you're doing one thing and you're telling me that it's another.
Yeah.
That just insults my intelligence.
Yeah, that is a weak statement. I think they just didn't know what to say or do. I don't know if the public library is in a position to legally say no. Okay, so they may
That's been the big question.
Okay, they may be in a very awkward situation. They may not be in a position. Now, here's what I would like to say or ask them. If this is really about inclusion, including everybody, and being receptive of everybody, of all lifestyles.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's going to happen if gangs want to go in there? Okay. And they want to read stories. What if MS-13 comes together and says, I'll go one more. What about pedophiles?
Yeah.
Okay. Because a person is a pedophile, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a criminal, or they may not have broken the law. They may just be attracted to children, and so they identify that because now there's a big thing with psychiatrists and psychologists and therapists saying that that's really a mental disorder. So my point that I'm making is that what if pedophiles wanted to come in and do a story time, and the library wouldn't be able to tell them no?
And there's so much to this story. We're going to get to the phone lines in just a second. But when you talk about tax dollars, okay, so when you talk about the situation with Joel Robideau, our mayor president, I really wonder what kind of legal ground he will have in being able to try to put a stop to this.
I don't think he can.
For all of that, okay? But and I would not be a bit surprised to see the ACLU come out to defend this fraternity.
That's right.
On the other hand, and I think that's part of what makes our government so great is that even some of the highest leaders still have limits on how much power they can have.
Yes.
Okay? But here's the thing about this. Tax dollars is what goes to the library system.
Yep.
And many people here in Lafayette have expressed, I can't even read all the comments because we've got so many. There has been an overwhelming backlash to this of people that are not supportive of this. Their tax money is going to that. And in this day and age, when you see your tax money go into things that you do not support are being wasted, it will get people fired up. And so people are fired up because not only is this a values thing, but this is also their tax money that's going towards the building that is housing this.
I tell you something, if the libraries ever need a tax increase, if they ever need any money that goes to a vote, there's no way they're getting it.
And they just got turned down from some money because they had such a big surplus.
That's exactly right. Mm-hmm. And so they are really I'm curious because I did some searching and I couldn't find a very specific answer. Mm-hmm. I am curious if the library system really is in a position to be able to say no. They might not be able to say no because and like I said, by telling this group yes, all right, whether it's because they want to or because they have to. When they allow them to come in, now you got to allow everybody. What about murderers? Mm-hmm. Okay, there's a lot of people that murdered someone, did their time, paid their debt to society, and they're living as citizens. What if they already had what if there was a murder group? Yeah. All the murderers got together and said, we're going to have our own group and we're going to get together and talk about our problems. And it was a social group, mm-hmm, right? Mm-hmm. And then they decided that they wanted to go to the library and start reading stories to children and identifying themselves. It's murder story time. You know, this could be a really bad situation.
All right. So we got to tell you, though, and take a quick break. And we're going to go to the phone lines in just a second, but we've got to tell you about one of our favorite restaurants, Poseidon's Authentic Greek Restaurant. They've got daily lunch and dinner specials open Tuesday through Friday for lunch from 11 to 2 and Tuesday through Saturday for dinner from 5 to 9. They're located at 103 Kali Saloom Road. That's the same shopping strip as Max's Pool Hall.
That's right. Go there. You can try vegetarian plates, kebabs with vegetables over rice, steaks with asparagus and potatoes, lamb and lamb chops, Kahlua coffee marinated brisket. Think about that. Kahlua and coffee marinated brisket.
Oh, I've had it. It's amazing.
It sounds wonderful.
It's so tender.
Yeah, chili shrimp, grilled shrimp, fried shrimp, shrimp pasta, chicken lemonato with broccoli, seared tuna. Big selection of fantastic food.
Absolutely. Look, all that, they've got a full bar as well. Poseidon's Authentic Greek Restaurant. You can dine in, take out, waiter. They also cater as well. Again, located at 103 Kali Saloom Road, the same shopping strip as Max's Pool Hall. Make sure you tell them that Offsides sent you.
Yeah, stay tuned. We're going to get to the phone lines. They've been lit up since we started.
Drag queen story time. That's the topic of discussion here in the 5 o'clock hour. Let's, without further ado, go to the phone lines. Caller, you are on the air. Go ahead with your opinion.
Hey guys, normally if you hit somebody in the pocketbook, that's where, you know, it'll end it. Mm-hmm. And I know that the library had some issues with money, or needing more money. So just boycott the library. You know, if people stop going, it'll pretty much.
Well, not going isn't going to take money. It's free. It's free to the public.
It's free to the public.
You don't pay an admission. You don't pay to use the computers or the checkout books or anything like that. So
because your tax dollars pay for that.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So by not going, you're not hurting them. But I see your point. You got to hurt them somehow with financially.
Yeah, I mean, protesting I think would work. You know, nothing violent. Don't beat anybody up. But you know, you got to get your voice out there somehow. And this is ridiculous.
And I guess, though, thank you, caller, that does bring up the question, is this the fault of the library, or are they in a legal situation where if they turn away someone, they can worry about getting sued themselves?
I think that legally, I don't think they have an option. Mm-hmm. I think the only thing that they'd be able to do, if anything, is not allow it for anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's going to be a sad situation, mm-hmm, because that's a good example of how sometimes progressives will ruin things for people. Mm-hmm. Because now if they say, no, we can't do it, you know, we're not going to allow you to do it, a judge might tell them, fine, if you don't allow them to do it, you can't allow anybody to do it.
232-1542, back to the Cajun Harley hotline. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Gentlemen, you guys have been doing an excellent job of stealing my thunder.
Thank you. Well, great minds think alike. Take it as a compliment.
Yes, I guess so, man. You guys, y'all are on point. The only other thing I have to contribute to this is that they are, you know, it's an overt effort to indoctrinate our children into believing that abnormal behavior is normal. They're normalizing it. And look, I don't care what consenting adults do or how they dress. It doesn't bother me. But when they're forcing it upon our children and trying to alter the way they perceive the world because they can't get the grown-ups to do it for them. So that's really
here's
what I
something to consider now. It's really not. It's not forcing it on them, okay? The parents, this is voluntary.
Right.
I don't understand why the parents would bring them.
Well, there are many parents that believe that want their kids to learn about that lifestyle and to be quote unquote inclusive.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of parents that have commented with that and how excited they were to bring their kids to that event because they felt that it would get. And look, and again, listening to the interview this morning, hearing them talk about why they do this, one of the main things that they mentioned was. And again, remember this fraternity speaks for a lot of LGBT rights.
Yes.
And so they mentioned the fact that they want kids to be able to understand, these are their words, not mine, to say that if they come across classmates who have two mommies or two daddies, that it's something that is okay, and that's what which to me says that they are wanting to make a statement. This is not just about
that is making a statement.
Time,
that's
reading
exactly
a story
right.
to kids.
Yeah.
It's about pushing a certain agenda.
Yeah, it's indoctrination in a way. And, it doesn't necessarily mean that there are a lot of drag queens out there that aren't necessarily same sex. Okay, so you got to look at the whole picture. It doesn't mean that it's going to give education to children about same sex relationships. I think that maybe some of the parents that are supportive of this are because now they don't have to talk about it with them. It kind of takes them, I'm going to let somebody else explain this to my child because I don't want to have to try to.
Thank you, caller. All right, well, we got a couple of sound bites, as a matter of fact, that we can kind of play throughout the show. As a matter of fact, here's one from the Delta Lambda Phi Vice President, Brad Parfait, who says that it's entertaining and educational. Could I let it play?
If they encounter something as in having a classmate that has two dads or two moms, maybe they'll know what that is and they'll know how to respond to it.
Yeah. Just kind of went over the point that I just made. But all right, let's go back to the Cajun Early Hotline.
Good work.
Hey, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Fellas, why does the left have to get so low where they're willing to sexualize young children over a political point? That is the most irreprehensible thing I can imagine.
Yeah, and you're right. It's sexualizing as children as much as exposing them to sexual situations as young as 3 years old. Because that's what that is, okay?
Being exposed to this. They're innocent children. Johnny's not going to care if Susie has two daddies. Big deal. They'll get over it. They're children. They're tough little things. But exposing them to adult things at that age is just absolutely disgusting.
Yeah.
In our own backyard, I'm seeing red. This is just unnecessary.
I tell you, it's a confusing world for these children to grow up in already. Okay, you got a lot of push and support for people that want. We just did a story on sex change operations, and how the government is paying for it, and I mean this is confusing to children. You got girls that want PPs and boys that want wee-wees, and it's now you're going to put them in a library situation where and look, I mentioned before these drag queens, they're frightening looking. Do a search. Do a search for these drag queens in the libraries. These are, some of them are really scary looking.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, the guy that we just mentioned, Brad Parfait, said they'll be having a few of their own strut their stuff for the afternoon.
We expect to have about 3 to 4 of our own membership going in drag to be able to reach the kids themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it's a bad idea.
All right, 232-1542.
Find another way.
All right, caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hello?
Hello. All right.
Sorry.
232-1542, caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, guys.
Hey.
I'm not so sure what's so confusing about this quote-unquote behavior.
Okay.
I mean, if a child asks, well, Mommy, what is that? Well, Billy, it's a woman dressed as a man. It takes all of 3 seconds to explain it.
Yeah. It's you know, good point. That's a really good point. But isn't that for the parents to do?
Right. And you know, if they're going to be requiring all the kids in Lafayette to attend this, then I would say, maybe there's a question there. But it's not required.
Yeah.
And you're right, it's not required.
It's not. It's voluntary. That's right. I would like to hear from some of the parents that are supportive of this. Yeah. And why. And I don't mean that in a challenging way.
No.
I really want them to explain it to me how they think their children benefit by going. And you're right. Listen, if you don't like it, just don't go.
Well, and the library has explained the material that they're going to be reading from has been pre-selected. It is pretty much stories about, you know, the value of the individual and being accepting of who you are. You know, so... Yeah,
the librarians pick the books.
Right. So the question I would pose is, okay, so whether it's a man, woman, or someone dressed a different way, what does their behavior outside or at night have to do with what story they're reading, or the fact that they show up in public? If their very existence, their appearance in public is the question or something political, then the fact that we're trying to prohibit it from happening means we're taking a political stance in the first place.
I don't know, man. I hear what you're saying, and you make some clearly educated opinions, and I think that you've got a clear view of the way that you see it. But I don't know. I think that this becoming an issue brings it to the forefront. I also, I'm telling you, the appearance of these guys, I'm not saying that all drag queens have to be pretty, all right? But these are some scary-looking individuals, and I'm not exaggerating. If you do a search, they look like they are wearing Halloween costumes. And so I think that their appearance definitely plays a role. These are kids as young as 3 years old.
Right, but so you're judging it based on what has happened in other cities, and if these guys show up dressed very nicely, then
what if they don't show up?
Well, what if they don't? That's nicely? Right. You know, I mean, you make a good point. Yeah, okay. You make a good point.
And what if things don't go the way that you're saying when it talks about the book and that they're not going to try and indoctrinate the kids? What if things go exactly like you're talking about? What if they don't go exactly like you're talking about? I mean, there's a lot of trust that's being put into this as well.
But so should we not also be putting the same amount of scrutiny towards every single religious group or Halloween group that wants to do the same thing?
But many religious groups do get that kind of scrutiny.
Yeah,
and they do get denied access to being able to do certain things.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, the public library, they host an average of 60 story times per month. And so the thing is that I don't see that groups are going in there that are doing story time as a group. Right. Now, you may be a member of a group. Okay, many of us are members of different groups. Yeah. You may be a member of a group and then you go in there to do a story. But the groups don't seem to be going in there trying to get representation through the library. And that's where I think I've got a conflict with this. They are trying to get representation through the library. You know, I think that there are other ways to do it, and I think that it needs to be age appropriate.
You can't tell me that people going in there dressed up as something, especially if you're talking about drag queens in this situation, you can't tell me that they're not going in there promoting what they're about. You know, are they going to get graphic and detail with the kids? No, I wouldn't expect that. But you can't tell me that just by dressing up in drag that they're not going in there to make a statement.
Well, I believe that they are going in there anticipating and maybe even encouraging questions from the children, because I saw a video that was taken in another city where a little boy was asking the storyteller, "Are you a boy or a girl?" Yeah. And I will say that it was handled pretty well. Okay, it was answered directly and it was answered very well. Right. But I don't know that. I still don't know that that's appropriate at that age.
It's awfully young.
To exposing, people with an alternative lifestyle, we'll call it, perfectly legal. Okay, and if that's what you want to do, I don't care. And I think most people believe that. I think most people have the I don't care type of thing. But I think that there's a time and place for everything. And I don't know that this is the time and place.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think this is the time and place. 232-1542. Take one more call before we go to our next break. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Is this me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I may have a unique perspective considering that I'm a lesbian and a conservative.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So traditionally, this has been kind of maybe kept for like adult entertainment in adult venues like bars and clubs.
Sure.
And it just seems really inappropriate for the two, children entertainment and adult entertainment to be rubbing shoulders like this,
Right.
I'm a 34-year-old lesbian. Me and my wife now, we associate more with the quote-unquote extreme Christian right, the bigots, than we do with the LGBT community because they're just going so far off the deep end. It's like they're just trying to see how far they can push it at this point. And it makes a lot of us look bad that, we go to work, we come home, we pay our bills. That's all we want to do. And then you have like these young kids, these college kids that just want to poke the fire and just see how hot they can get it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's all this is. They're just poking the fire just to see how hot they can get it. And it's sad.
Yeah. Well, it's a great perspective, and we really appreciate you calling up because, yours is the opinion that we are looking for because, being a lesbian, being in a same-sex relationship and having a wife, but seeing the picture the way that most people, I would say most people, a lot of people do, is very encouraging to me. And I think I speak for Brandon as well, because you would think that you're right, because I don't want to call it guilt, but it's kind of guilt by association. These people are bringing some baggage to the entire LGBT community that not necessarily all of them agree with.
And it brings me to this point. One of the things about this, I am so tired in these past couple of days of this on social media. I am so tired of people calling others less tolerant and calling them bigots because they're opposed to this.
Yeah.
They can be opposed to this and still be approving of a different lifestyle than what they what they enjoy. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that they are opposed to the lifestyle. They just don't believe that drag queens should be having story time with kids.
Yeah, and that's a perfect description. I can speak for myself to support it because I've had employees, very successful employees that were in same-sex relationships.
Right.
I have relatives that I've gotten along with fine. Some of the most successful business people that I've known in the business community are homosexuals and lesbians, and so I consider myself very receptive to that lifestyle. I'm one of those mind your own business
That's
people.
what I say. You're a mind your business
I'm a mind
person.
your own business person. I don't care what you do. But this just kind of, you're right, caller. It's like they want to push something and poke that hornet's nest and stoke that fire just to, I don't know, get attention, create a problem. Your guess is as good as mine, but thanks for the call.
Thank you so much. We really do appreciate your perspective. All right, so we've got to tell you about our friends over at Red Royal House Buyers. If you're facing any situation and selling your home fast would help you, make sure that you give them a call. They can close on your house at your convenience.
That's right. Here are some reasons of why you should contact Red Royal House Buyers. They will buy your house as is with cash, no fees, no commission, and you won't have to make any repairs. Most importantly, they will close on your timeline to meet your needs.
Make sure you visit Red Royal House Buyers online at redroyalhousebuyers.com. You can follow them on Facebook, or you can give them a call at 337-509-0040. Today, that's 509-0040. Red Royal House Buyers, you need to sell. They are ready to help.
All right, everybody. We'll be right back here on Offsides. Keep your calls coming in. All right, welcome back to Offsides, everybody.
Time to be serious now.
Yes, time to straighten it up. All right, so LA Solar Film. LA Solar Film is Acadiana's premier residential and commercial window tint service.
Look, treating your windows with a tinted film has proven to reduce utility bills, ward off potential intruders, eliminate morning and afternoon glare from the sun, and prevent damage from storms.
Yeah, that's right. Estimates are always free, so give Greg with LA Solar Film a call. 534-8039 to schedule your consultation. They have free estimates, financing available. Great local company. Locally owned, locally operated, and they provide a great service to you. All right, so as we have been talking about the situation with our local library taking on this trend, this national trend of drag queens coming in and telling stories. You know, one of the things that I saw online and this is kind of accusing, but the question does come to mind. Okay, so these drag queens, they're grown men.
Right.
All right. What are these grown men doing wanting to read to little children?
Yeah.
Okay, a lot of people are taking that position. It's like, well, wait a minute. What is your objective here? Are you really wanting to educate these children? And if so, why are you trying to, take the role of the parent? Shouldn't you be encouraging the parent to do what you're wanting to do?
Good point. 232-1542. We go back to the Cajun Harley hotline. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Hey, man, this is a great topic, and you know, you guys always hit it right on the point and get right to the point. I saw this morning on television, and I actually took a video, a capture of it on my cell phone and sent it out to all my friends, and I said, I can't believe how we've degraded our society that these groups are wanting to do that. And that's my personal opinion, but I have a great idea, and I think you guys should join me. We should have on the same day at the library, right next door to the drag queen reading thing, we should have the NRA Second Amendment reading expo, and we should give away free toy guns and candy.
Okay, there you go. Because we were talking about that earlier. Because now, if the library is going to accept them, and they don't, whether they have a choice or whether they don't have a choice, then they got to accept everybody. And you make a good point. Now that the NRA should be able to go in there and have story time. Storytelling by the NRA.
What I can't help but wonder, that's kind of funny to think about, but what I can't help but wonder about this is now if some conservative groups, after hearing this, will want to go to the library and see if the library will be as inclusive towards them as they are to the drag queen story time.
Right.
And really put this to test in the sense of, okay, is this a thing where the library cannot turn somebody away?
Right.
So then they cannot turn conservative groups away either.
Yeah. That might be it, and I think that's what we're going to see. If in fact this is something that the library has no choice.
Yeah.
Then, or if they do have a choice. All right. Either way, I think that you're going to see more groups saying, well, hey, guess what? If you're going to let the drag queens go in there and read to children, you got to let the murderers.
All right. Thank you, caller. 232-1542. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Well, to the gentleman that tried to argue minutia about this group and that group, I say baloney, because this is sexualizing young children. Number two, this is the same radical left that will support an ideological section of a religion, radical Islam, that advocates throwing gay men off of roofs, off of tall buildings, and covering up women and not allowing them to be part of the societies. So these people just don't know what the hell they want.
Yeah.
And they don't need to have anything to do with our children in sexual situations. This is just abhorrent. And you know what? We're going to have a protest, and I'm sure we're going to burn as many trash cans and make as much noise as Antifa. You know how the conservatives do, right?
No, it's not going to happen, but I see your sarcasm.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
All right, 232-1542, back to the Cajun Harley hotline. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Yes. I'm just going to say what nobody else is going to say. All about pedophilia.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of people, you're not the only one that's saying that. You're the only one that has said it on our show.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm seeing a lot of comments like that as well. And, a lot of people have that same opinion. Thanks for the call.
232-1542. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Yes, I'd just like to say that, why can't they just, if they want to read to the kids, why can't they just go and read? Why do they have to subject the kids to this? I mean, that's your preference, fine. But a 2-year-old and 3-year-old will not understand that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I agree. I think that it's indoctrination, at least to a certain degree, because why do you want to subject this entire situation to children that young? And you're right. If these men want to go read, why don't they just go read and dress in a suit or in jeans and a T-shirt?
Why does it have to be
Why does it have to be in drag? That's exactly right. That's the point they're trying to make.
They will not have questions for these people. They will not.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. All right. 232-1542. We head back to the Cajun Arley hotline. Caller, you're up. Go ahead. You there, caller?
Hello.
Yes, you're on.
Hello. Hi.
All right. Go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, ma'am. You're on. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
have a comment. I just want to make one comment. Why don't y'all have someone come to read to the kids about Jesus Christ? Maybe the kids wouldn't be so messed up in the head today.
Well, that's a very good point, because now you could have church groups that want to go to the library and they want to read. Now, we'll tell you this. The librarians pick the stories. Mm-hmm. Okay, that was something I learned looking into this today. The drag queens or the church groups, whoever it is that is reading the stories, the librarians make the choice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 232-1542. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Okay, so I know you said the librarians picked the story, but whenever I looked at this and I saw this was coming to the library, I went and I checked it out because, you could click on a link or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the book that the drag queen was reading was about a little person becoming a drag queen.
Wow. Well.
Okay, so that's my first thing. The other thing is this isn't without a doubt indoctrination. It is. Mm-hmm. And this is like them recruiting, like, come and be one of us. It's like, when you go to Cane's, it's chicken. When you go to Chick-fil-A, it's chicken. Beef isn't on the menu. And what they're doing is they're putting things on the menu. They're putting it out there as bait. So eventually they're going to bite. So they're putting things out there that this, this is going to be the new norm. Mm-hmm. And I'm a Christian, and I have friends who that I do care about their well-being, and I've worked with people who are gay or lesbian, and some of them have partaken in the drag queen lifestyle. Mm-hmm. It's not for me. I don't hate them. It's their life and it's their business. But that's not something that is, it's not appropriate, and it's not something that was meant for us to be. And shame on parents who think that this is okay, because ultimately it's the parents who are taking their kids to this.
That's what I want to know. I want to hear from some parents that are supportive of this and plan on or already have brought their children to these events, and how they justify that. What is it they're trying to accomplish?
Well, it's normalizing a position that is not
normal,
widely accepted. It's not the norm here like you said, it's not the norm here in the country. It's a very small percentage.
Yeah.
Well, another thing is you wouldn't bring a kid to a strip club, okay?
Yeah.
Even though even though it's a little boy and these are women, or maybe you bring a little girl to a male strip club, whatever, you don't bring children to those types of things. And to me, this is like the previous call, the lady called and said, you're bringing a lifestyle and you're mixing it with children. Like, you're mixing very adult things with very young minds, and that's just not appropriate.
And that happens not just in this, but that happens in so much nowadays, where people are exposing kids to adult problems. Adult situations on a regular basis. And whether it's this and whether it's other issues, I get tired of it. Let these kids be kids.
Yeah, you gotta consider that. This is a developing mind, and we need to protect these children. And y'all are absolutely right. You're exposing these children to adult situations. They've got no business even knowing about it at that age. It doesn't mean that that these people are bad. All right, and in many cases, I would imagine in most cases, they're not trying to do any harm to these children, but they will, they can, and that could happen.
Thank you, caller. All right, 232-1542. Caller, you're up. Have ahead.
Yeah, I'm a just a good old American boy. I go to work every day. Mm-hmm. I have two gay brothers, which I don't discriminate against. I'm a God-fearing man. My thing is let these people just do what the hell they want to do, really and truly. Mm-hmm. Let's not add to the fire. I know they want to protest and against us and stuff like that, but we're just adding fire with fire when we protest against them.
Well, I tell you, the best way to protest against it is just not show up.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right.
If that's the parents' view and they want to bring them, let them bring them. That's their mistake. You know,
Yeah.
That's the parents mess up.
Thank you for the call.
All right, 232-1542. We go back to the Cajun Raleigh hotline. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Go ahead. You there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, your phone was breaking up on us.
Yeah.
Got a lot of static going on. Go ahead.
Okay, go on.
Okay, yeah, I was agreeing with the gentleman that called earlier about having a group like the NRA in an adjacent room or trying to get an actual engagement to go there.
Yes.
But I wouldn't, you know, and I include females, include NRA men. And instead of, you know, it wouldn't be to tout the NRA. It would be just to have a presence and definitely not have toy guns, but coloring books or balloons to show a different side of what's being presented next door and just have a presence and see what goes on. Yeah,
you're breaking up, my friend.
But we
Thanks
got your
for the
point,
call.
though. Thank you. All right, 232-1542. Caller, you're up. Go ahead.
Hey, yes, I'd just like to comment that I'm tired of the progressive liberal nonsense. Who would have thought it was a great idea to remove God from school, but yet allow drag queens into the library to read to our kids?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd like to push on with that. We just received a letter from the school here a couple of days ago in St. Martin Parish.
Uh-huh.
The kids are required now, if a parent wants to pack a snack or a lunch, they have to take the labeling off of everything. You know, who cares that your Dasani water is better than my bottle of great value water?
How do they? Why is that? Why do they want you to take the labels off?
They saying they don't want to advertise any labels. I'm thinking it's, you know, the same reasoning behind the school uniforms. Because, you know, you had this brand of clothing, somebody else had this brand of clothing, and all that. So,
Because of peer pressure?
I'm pretty sure it has something to do with it. I mean, they didn't give any reasoning behind it, but it's crazy. I mean, you got tortilla chips, you got Doritos. It's tortilla chips. So what if yours says Doritos on it? But now that's more pressure for the parents to go ahead and remove things. You know, you got to cover up labels, remove labels just so the kids can bring them on in there.
That's a mess.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I hear you. Thanks for the call.
All right, well, thank you so much.
That's a lot of work right there. I just wouldn't. Maybe you could just put masking tape over the label.
I guess so.
That's a pain.
All right, we're going to go ahead and call it a show there. Until tomorrow, have a great one. Coming up next, Mark Levin, of course, Fox News, the top of the hour. The latest on Paul Manafort, you can find it at our website, kpel965.com. Thanks so much for listening to Offsides. Have a great day.